everyone. It is Sunday Sit Down time, a special edition of Sunday Sit Down. We're joining Mizzou wrestling star Keegan O'Toole in his house. Keegan, I think we have to talk about what's going on here.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You know, obviously having surgery.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I got ACL reconstruction surgery. Yeah, I've had a torn ACL for quite a while now, and I'm very happy that it's fixed now. We have a long road to recovery, but I'm happy that I'm internally, matching on both legs.
Yeah, well, take me through this season. I mean, when this happened and you kind of worked through it and then you were able to return to the mat, take me through just how tough and grueling that was to get back.
Yeah, it wasn't like one specific event that it blew up. It was a series of a little bit smaller events, and then one I can remember that officially kind of just took it out of commission. It happened very early in our Virginia Tech duel. We got in a weird scramble, and the dude was yanking at my ankles all match, which was really annoying. And I felt my knee pop a little bit, and it didn't hurt. It just felt a pop, and it was kind of like, whoa. Like anytime something like that happens, you're usually expecting pain, and you kind of freak out for a second. But I didn't feel any pain. The next day, it was kind of sore as I expected, but nothing in terms of like I couldn't walk or no stability. There wasn't really much swelling. And then I just continued to practice and push through because I'm like, I don't know, that's all I know how to do. And the doctors and trainers were like pushing around, and they're like, yeah, it doesn't seem fine. You maybe just popped like your calf muscle or something. And then going into practice the next few weeks, into late November, early December, it popped a few more times, and a couple of those times hurt really, really bad. But it was weird because it never like felt unstable. Like it would pop, it would hurt for like a minute, and then the pain would go away, and then I would go back to wrestling. So it was very unique versus some of the smaller knee injuries I've got prior to having this happen. It was very different. And then we wrestled December 22nd. We wrestled 3 matches. First one was against Little Rock, and then Binghamton, and then Penn State. And in the second match against Binghamton, the guy who I was wrestling took a shot on me, and my knee just kind of like hyperextended. It kind of bent weird, and I felt it. I was like, oh, that did not feel good. But still finished the match and then wrestled the next match after that. And it was against a returning national champ, and I beat him in overtime, and I was like, yeah, something's definitely not right, but like I had to go out there and win. And then we had like 3 days off for Christmas. And then once I woke up that next day, that was when it was really bad. I mean, it was very, very swollen. Like walking was hard. I had to have my wife help me around the house a little bit. And I was like, I should probably get this like, an MRI or get something really looked at.
Where do you get the drive to compete through an injury that I know hurts that much? Where do you get that drive to keep going?
Well, at first I didn't really know, obviously. Because I had my trainers and my surgeon, Mitch Sweeney, and then our surgeon, Bus Tarbox, looking at it, and they were like, yeah, it doesn't feel like too bad. And I mean, those guys are the professionals. Right. So like, prior to what happened on December 22nd, before it was like, I'm just going. It may hurt, but I'm still gonna go. But I really didn't start to feel like the negative effects of it and how bad it was until like after that Binghamton match on December 22nd.
When you made your return to the mat, for senior day, what was that moment like for you? All you kind of had battled through all season to get there and to be able to compete on senior day.
Yeah, I was very nervous because I just didn't know how my leg would hold up. There were so many things that I couldn't do, and even the Big 12 tournament and nationals, there were still a lot of things that were like super hesitant. Like my mind-body connection to my leg just wasn't there because it was like, don't do this, don't do that, and I'm like trying to push through that, and it's very difficult. But I was nervous, but I was also very excited because I just love competing and I love wrestling, and you take me out of that, I'm probably not gonna be super happy. So those 2 months, it was just a lot of patience, a lot of trusting in my coaches and my athletic trainers and my doctors to be like, hey, we're gonna put a plan in place and we're gonna stick to it, and you're not gonna waver from it. And prior, I always told in like any other interview I was asked, it was like, what was the most important thing you learned? I was like, well, I learned to trust and I learned patience. Characteristically, throughout my 5 years here, I pushed through everything. I would do extra workouts, and I couldn't do that. Like, that was just not an option. Otherwise, my knee would just, something else would get damaged, and it was like I had to do a bunch of maintenance control. Like, I'm practicing for this time. Once practice is over, you're done. You're not doing extra. You're staying within the boundaries that you can stay in. And so I had to learn how to be patient. I had to learn how to trust.
You mentioned you were limited when you get to nationals, but you were limited and you made it to the title match, obviously. How do you do that? How do you kind of change your wrestling a little bit where you still make it to that stage?
I mean, the only thing I can characterize is like I trained so much how to learn. I had to learn how to wrestle with it, which is so different than what I normally wrestle like. I mean, there are some wrestlers who wrestle closer, more conservative, and, you know, they're one takedown matches. But, like, if you ever watched me wrestle previously, that's not how I shoot a lot. I get a lot of scrambles. Like, I'm very action-packed wrestler, so that was completely taken away from me if I wanted to somewhat be successful. So I just had to learn for those 2 months how to wrestle with it. And the only thing I can say is I just had to find a way. Doesn't matter if it was pretty ugly, doesn't matter how I got the takedown or how I got a ride out. I mean, it was just find a way.
Yeah, well, you know, when you look at your Mizzou career, is it kind of surreal now that things have ended here in Columbia? Obviously sticking around a little bit, but that your time here as a student athlete has come to an end.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's bittersweet. My body and mind were ready for it to be done, but I think just that competitor and that excitement that I got of putting on that Mizzou singlet and wrestling in the Hearns, or going on the road and wrestling in enemy territory. And also just stepping on the NCAA finals mat. It's something I'll never get again, but I'm very lucky to have been there 3 times and, you know, capitalized on 2 of them. And those are just something that, I mean, all good things come to an end. So it's like understanding that, what's the next phase?
2 national titles, conference titles. How would you kind of characterize and summarize your Mizzou career here?
It's hard. I'm a competitor at heart. So anytime I lose, that sticks with me harder than wins do. Like, I just hate losing. And so I look at it, I'm like, man, I didn't achieve my goals. But then I have awesome people to remind me and be around, like, hey, man, like, the things you did were fantastic. And so, like, 2 national titles, 4 conference titles, 2 world titles throughout my time here. I got to look back and be like, man, like, you put it all out on the line. And like anything in life, like any competitor, you're going to have failures. Like, that's just how it is. You're going to have hard times. And so just understanding that, like, the process of, you know, these 4 years, don't focus on those moments where you failed or you succeeded in those, you know, matches. Focus on, like, when we come in here during winter break and we're getting extra rope climbs with the guys, or we're back here doing footwork circuits, or we're in the room and we're having a tough life practice, or we're playing kickball and getting so mad at each other that it's ruining friendships, you know, before practice. So those are the things that it's, like, more important to focus on, because those are the relationships you developed. And also, you spend much more time in the practice room than you do on the mat. And so that process of being in refinement and learning about yourself, learning about how to master your craft, those lessons carry much more than, you know, a match you win or lose on Saturday night at the national tournament.
You're going to be very remembered by the Mizzou fan base, but also by your teammates as well. What do you hope your legacy is, you know, in this wrestling room with your teammates?
I just hope that, well, I'm sticking around, so I want to help them as much as I can, but I just hope that I showed them what it's like to put it all on the line and be the best teammate possible, because without teammates, you're really not going to get anywhere. Like, if you're not pouring into them, they're most likely not going to pour back into you. And you need a team to be successful, whether that's, you know, you're a solo competitor, but you have coaches and you have staff and you have athletic trainers and doctors. That's your team. But also, I've got 30-some guys out there that are helping me, that are wrestling in the room for me, going out and competing to make Mizzou a better program. And so I hope that I showed them how to live right. Not perfectly, but live right, and to pour into your teammates and just work as hard as you can.
What does Brian Smith, for people who don't know him as well as you guys do, what does he mean to this program? I feel like it speaks for itself a little bit.
He's a crazy old man, I will say that. But I mean, I remember my first interaction with him was, first time I met him, my freshman year of high school, it was like in October. He came to do a camp at Aspen Wrestling Academy, and obviously Ben and Max wrestled at Mizzou, and so I grew up watching. Ben was a little too old for my time. I was only like 6 when he graduated college. But Max, I remember watching in 2010, winning his NCAA final in the Mizzou Gold singlet. And I just always knew about Mizzou. I knew Ben and Max, what they did, and I started wrestling for them when I was 11, 12 years old. So, but Brian Smith, man, he's built such a fantastic culture and an amazing way to live. Like, Tiger style is believe, compete, expect to win one more. Like, those are ingrained in me once I got here. And so you can take that so far outside of wrestling. Like, you can take that within a marriage, you can take that within being a parent, you can take that within having a job, or, you know, pursuing building a company of your own, which something I want to do in the future. And so something that I'll always carry, and I don't think a lot of programs can say, is they have like a motto. They have like a team identity, and for us, that's Tiger style. And I think the fact that he was able to instill that in us, and it's such a standard that unfortunately, you know, sometimes people don't live up to those standards, and, you know, you got to remind them, like, hey, this is what we're here to do. Like, you're expected to believe. You're here to believe, compete, expect to win one more. If you're not doing those things, I'm gonna let you know, and as good teammates as you should, hold them accountable. But if you're not gonna be rowing with us and you're gonna be drilling holes, like my high school coach always says, you gotta get out, you know? And so that's just a standard that he's created here. And I mean, it shows for itself. I mean, we've had so much, you know, we've had NCAA titles. Our first national champion was Ben Askren, and now, to me, it's like all of that was done from a program that was literally almost cut in 1998. Like, it was on the verge of being cut.
Yeah. When you look at the future of Tiger Style, I know you're sticking around and, you know, help out these guys a little bit, but a lot of young guys stepped up this year. You know, what do you like about the future that you see for Tiger Style?
I just love the battle that these guys showed. I mean, it's just so not easy to step out on that mat and compete, especially in front of a home crowd when you're at a disadvantage. You know, we had guys going up. We had so many injuries this year. We had guys going up in weight classes. You know, guys weighing in for 57, wrestling 74. Guys weighing in for 65, wrestling 84. And it's like, just the fact that they were willing to do that is just shows how much that they care about this team, and just how much Tiger Style has just been ingrained in them.
What's next for Keegan O'Toole? I know recovery is probably top of the list, but what's next for Keegan?
Yeah, let's learn how to walk again without crutches. But I'm going to be in here. I'm going to be helping these guys and pouring into them as much as I can. But once I'm recovered, however long that takes, I plan to be on the senior level circuit. And, you know, I've won 2 world titles, and I don't plan on stopping that. And then in LA in 2028, I hope to be in that gold medal match.
You know, alums seem to really always come back around this Tiger Style program. What is it that keeps alums coming back?
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the crazy things that are happening with college sports, transfer portal, stuff like that. I mean, it's always been happening for like football and stuff, but now with sports, it's kind of crazy. You just look at. But what I would love for people to know is that, like, people don't leave Mizzou, really. Like, there are some cases, you know, where it's like, hey, like, we want you to have an opportunity, and I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to have a starting spot, and it may be the best idea for you to find somewhere else. But a majority of time, people always stay, and they always come back, like you said. And I just think that's a testament to what Coach Smith has created here. We're not just a wrestling team. We're not here to just step out on the mat by ourselves. We're a family. And once you've built those relationships, it's hard to leave them. You know, like, all this stuff happening, like, you couldn't pay me any money in the world to leave this place. I don't care. Like, I got what I need. I value what I have here, and I just don't think that you're going to get the camaraderie and the loyalty and the love you get, like, other places than you do here. So I think that's what keeps them coming back.
Keegan, I appreciate you making the time for us, especially in the state you're in, so I appreciate you making the time, man. Congrats on a great career.
Thank you.
Awesome. For the rest of you guys, we'll be right back after the break.